Just a couple of months later, in March of 2002, we raided a Lashkar-e-Taiba safe house in Lahore.
Okay.
And in that house, we captured three Lashkar-e-Taiba fighters who had with them a copy of the Al-Qaeda training manual. And it was the first time, analytically, that we were able to connect Lashkar-e-Taiba with Al-Qaeda. The very first time. I remember receiving a cable from the deputy director of the CIA for intelligence, congratulating us on finding this training manual, saying it was the very first time that we could attach the Pakistani government to Al Qaeda.
What stopped you from going after Pakistan then? You have the first smoking gun of a inextricably linked ISI, because the LET or the JEM, JUD,
Mhm.
the various names that they come up with are
Yes,
essentially ISI proxies propped up by the
yes,
Pakistani government, and now they have a direct link with
correct.
Al-Qaeda. Uh,
Yes.
why didn't you ever bring this up?
That was a decision that was made at the White House. And the decision was that the relationship is bigger than India Pakistan, at least temporarily. The relationship, we needed the Pakistanis actually more than they needed us at that point. We were happy to throw money at them. That's what they responded to.
Mm.
But we really needed them to let us base our drones in Balochistan, for example, have what's called a picket line.
Mm.
CIA officers all the way up and down the border with Afghanistan
So from Waziristan all the way down to
to
Balochistan.
Balochistan. Mhm.
Wow.
We needed a presence in Peshawar. We needed a presence in Quetta. We needed a presence in Karachi and Lahore. And we needed for them to say yes to everything that we wanted to do.
Mm.
And so a decision was made at the White House that if we strategically ignore this terrorism problem vis-a-vis India, the relationship would be much easier to negotiate. And so that's what we did. I'll tell you one other thing. Years later, in 2008,
Mm.
I had left the CIA. I had blown the whistle already, and I was working as a counterterrorism advisor to ABC News, one of the big news networks here in the
Yes, of
United
course.
States. And I got a call saying, "Are you watching the news?" I said, "No." It was the night before Thanksgiving, so it's a major American holiday,
Right.
major holiday. I said, "No, I'm not watching the news." Uh, there's been an enormous terrorist attack in Mumbai. They're attacking hotels, they're attacking Jewish centers, they're attacking this and attacking that. I said, "Oh my God." They said, "Can you come into the studio and talk about this?" I said, "Of course." Everybody else was on vacation because it's the eve of a major holiday.
Yes.
So I jump in the shower, I shave, and as I'm getting dressed, my wife, who was still in the CIA at the time, she said, "You should watch, while you're getting dressed, you should watch what the other networks are saying about this." So I go to CNN. They said, "Al Qaeda." I go to Fox, "Al Qaeda." MSNBC, "It's Al Qaeda." And these are all friends of mine who were saying it. And
Yeah.
I said to my wife, "I don't think this is Al Qaeda." She said, "Wow, you better really be sure of yourself if you're going to put your reputation on the line and tell the entire country that this
Yeah.
is not Al Qaeda." So I drove down to ABC News to the studio
Mhm.
and they wired me up. And I was talking to the reporter in New York. And I said, "Listen, I don't think this is Al Qaeda. I think this is the Pakistani supported Kashmiri groups." I said, "Al Qaeda doesn't care about India. They don't have any problem with the Indians. Their
Mm.
fight is with us."
Yes.
And he said, "Oh my God." He said, you're going to need to be 100% sure because everybody is saying it's Al Qaeda." And I said, I was in the CIA long enough that I can say that I feel strongly this is not Al Qaeda. And so I went on the air and I was the only person that said, "I believe that these are Pakistani Kashmiri separatist groups supported by the Pakistani ISI.
Right.
And that turned out to be exactly the case. To
Bingo.
the
Yeah.
point where ABC News made television commercials saying, ABC News, the Mumbai attacks, we were the only ones that got it right. But
Right.
there was a bigger issue here, bigger story here. And the story was that Pakistan was committing terrorism in
Right.
India, and
You
nobody did anything about it.